After the broadcast of a program titled Education Ideas of Three Generations of Teachers, it became popular throughout the internet. The program randomly selects one representative from each of the teachers born in the 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s, and then showcases their differences in thinking education through live broadcasts. Representatives of teachers born in the 1980s appear somewhat rigid, serious, while representatives of teachers born in the 1990s keep up with the trend of the times, and the generation gap with students is not obvious. However, when the camera was directed to the representative teacher of the post.00s generation, EP1-10, the art style suddenly changed. When other teachers procrastinate and wish to take up 10 minutes between classes, EP1 runs faster than the students. When other teachers come to school early to supervise students, Juventus was late with the students. As various outrageous incidents occurred, netizens couldn't help but exclaim, "Where are you here to teach? This is simply coming to clean up the workplace." Keywords of the novel. Post.00s teacher. Students are late, and I am also late without pop-ups. Post.00s teacher. Students are late, and I am also late. Download the full text of the text. Post.00s teacher. Students are late, and I am also late for the latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Where does this whole body look like a teacher? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. This whole body doesn't look like a teacher from top to bottom. Experimental High School is a public high school in Shanghai. Has won multiple honorary titles such as National Top 100 High School, First Class Key High School, and First Class Ordinary High School Characteristic Demonstration School, and has consistently occupied the top 3 positions in the Shanghai General High School Teaching Quality Ranking. However, that was all in the past. With the change of principals, old teachers are gradually unable to keep up with the changes in new textbooks, and the school's college entrance examination scores are declining year by year. As a result, the quality of enrollment has declined, and the popularity has also declined year by year. Last year, it plummeted to the bottom of the public high school rankings. As we continue to decline, experimental high school may not even be able to maintain its second-to-last position. How can this work? Is it tolerable or not? The newly appointed principal has learned from his painful experience and is determined to change the current situation. After recruiting a new group of teachers and setting up a new teaching and research group, the new principal took an unprecedented move. Agreeing to the live broadcast program Enter the School for school interviews. The principal's goal is only one, to expand the school's reputation. I have to prove to everyone that our experimental high school is top-notch, not as bad as everyone thinks. Especially better than the last one. And today happens to be the first day of the live broadcast of the program Walking into School. Early in the morning, many viewers with the idea of revisiting campus life had already squatted down. Hey, back to the familiar campus, the familiar entrance. Please enjoy a history of regression in one of the top 100 high schools. Cinderella wants to become a fairy. Speaking upstairs is heart-wrenching. When I graduated from experimental high school, I ranked 3rd in the city. Now, why am I 2nd? I beg my mother and principal to be sincere. As a student of experimental high school, I also want face. My memories of being 18 years old have come back. Please let me sing a school song. Nima, does my school have a school song? I forgot. Are you here upstairs to be funny? You're a professional. At this moment, journalist Meow Meow and photographers holding cameras have arrived at the school gate. The camera was directly aimed at a middle-aged male teacher standing at the school gate. I saw the male teacher wearing a common blue striped shirt and a plain black suit pants, and the demeanor of a cadre was naturally born. As soon as the male teacher turned his head, the endless hairline, shiny big head, and extremely absorbent Mediterranean hairstyle immediately caused the barrage in the live broadcast room to go crazy. Sentenced 10 years for being handsome. Second Olympics. Does every school have a Mediterranean teacher? The shadow of my childhood has come again. I'm fat and I'm happy, said the Mediterranean hairstyle, isn't it particularly economical with shampoo? Dog's head saves life, round me up to 2 meters tall. Are you going to laugh upstairs and let me inherit my flowers? This teacher is checking the job properly. Let me see which student dares to be late. Yo yo yo, I immediately felt the scene of being scolded by the teaching director in high school. I really appreciate it. The dean released me from the hospital. Report the time. There are still the last 5 minutes left until class. I love both wolf and milk dogs. What I love the most is this moment, when a wonderful play is about to take place. At this moment, countless netizens have secretly started watching the excitement. There are still 5 minutes left until the first class in the morning, and at this moment, there is a huge influx of students who have arrived at the school. The teaching director standing at the school gate now looked at him with his hands on his hips and his eyes bright. A student was stuffing his mouth with xiaolongbao. When he saw the teaching director at the door, his hand slipped and a steamed bun fell off. Old and old. Good teacher. Seeing the teaching director's mouth cocking, the student immediately gobbled up the xiaolongbao and sped towards the teaching building. Some students have already turned on the speed of life and death on their bicycles, and as they watch the figure of the teaching director appear, they quickly brake and get off the car to push it. At first glance, they do countless movements like flowing clouds and flowing water. The series of actions of the students were captured by the teaching director in front of them. As the class bell didn't ring yet, the teaching director also planned to turn a blind eye and let it go. At this moment, the watch let out a beep, and the instructor nodded silently before shouting to the security guard at the nearby entrance. Close the door. As soon as the sound came out, the collision barrier at the school gate suddenly moved away, blocking the entrance. And this scene has also been recorded in real time in the live broadcast room, and netizens have fully incorporated their memories of their school days. I am the woman who wants to become the One Piece King. My mom, look at that, clearly there is another student behind. Old phlegm pickled Chinese cabbage noodles. Does anyone love that xiaolongbao that fell off the ground? Your waha. Why is your angle so novel upstairs? I ordered another bean curd jelly served with sauce immediately. Back in the day, I was a professional in the field of management. I never got caught by the teaching director once. Proud and proud, I already anticipated that the teaching director would be furious. Following the camera, a boy with a backpack and a blue and white school uniform lowered his head and walked towards the school gate, as if preparing to jump over the railing on the other side. The boy thought he was invisible, but in reality, he was seen by the teaching director. In the next moment, the teaching director strode over and shouted loudly. You kid, come over here. As soon as the voice came out, the boy across from him immediately shrank and then revealed his big white teeth with a smile. Good morning, Director of Education. As he spoke, the male high school student touched his inch and his smile became even more innocent. This seemingly obedient appearance fell into the eyes of the teaching director, who instinctively prepared to say hello, and in the next moment, his expression immediately became serious. Good morning. What's good? Don't you even take a look at what time it is now? Why can't you wake up 10 minutes early and have no sense of time? Our school has principles. School rules are discipline, and violators will be punished. Students should have the appearance of students. You need to go deep in and reflect. Stand aside for me. A barrage of criticism immediately made the audience in the live broadcast room reminisce about their youthful years. Why do I feel like this student has big eyes and clear foolishness? At first glance, I'm afraid I haven't woken up yet. Handsome being chased. I feel the pressure of the former teaching director. Look, there's another female student behind me. That student is even more arrogant, she didn't even wear school uniform. She just came wearing casual clothes. Yes, are the students in this experimental high school already so rampant? At this moment, many netizens have turned their attention to a girl wearing a bright yellow hoodie in dark blue jeans. The girl who ran over clearly had a fine sweat on her forehead, and under the sunlight, it seemed to be emitting a faint light. It seems that I saw the figure of the teaching director at the entrance, and then I saw the girl running quickly to the teaching director, smiling and saying hello. Good morning, director. Following the sound, the head teacher nodded slightly and greeted the figure in front of him. Good morning, teacher Yu. As soon as these words were spoken, a series of question marks immediately popped up in the live broadcast room. Is this the teacher? Where does he look like a teacher wearing all over his body? End of this chapter. How dare you be late for my class in chapter 2? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dare you be late for my class in chapter 2? Journalist Meow Meow's eyes widened, not to mention the netizens in the live broadcast room. At this moment, the barrage in the live broadcast room began to flash wildly. I believe even if someone with a tender face says they are a student, can you tell me they are a teacher? Dr. Zhang from the mental hospital said, when will school be able to wear hoodies and jeans for class? At first glance, this looks like a teacher born in the 2000s. But at first glance, you don't understand, do you? Wow, by the way, this teacher you looks really handsome. As for Juventus, who was being discussed by everyone, although he had already arrived at the school gate, his mind was still a bit confused. She woke up early this morning and realized that she had unknowingly traveled. After all, I have also read online novels for so many years, and I am not unfamiliar with traveling through nature. Unexpectedly, I became a Chinese language teacher born in the 2000s. I graduated from normal school last year, passed multiple written exams and interviews, and successfully joined experimental high school. At present, I happen to be the Chinese teacher and class teacher of class 11 in experimental high school. As the large memory was received, Yuan gradually realized it. Teacher, just be a teacher. When the boat reaches the bridge, it will naturally straighten out. After all, it's also an iron rice bowl, and being a salted fish and eating public rice is also quite good. What these little brats are playing now are all leftovers from their own years. After thinking about it, Yuan Wen came up with a clear idea of his teaching policy for the future. Because I have been in the rain, I am determined to tear apart someone else's umbrella. Just as Yuan was well receptive to the new memories in her brain, she suddenly reacted. Today is Monday, and I still have classes. As soon as he looked at the time, he cursed inwardly, and Yuan rushed towards the school in a hurry. When I arrived at school, I happened to meet the teaching director of Cha Gang. What an unlucky day. Just as Yuan showed a polite smile, he saw the teaching director suddenly wave his hand to the student next to him. Teacher Yu, is this student from your class? With his gaze following, Yuan looked at the student beside him who was laughing foolishly and immediately recognized him as the mischievous Zhang Tao from his class. She immediately squeezed out a smile and politely apologized to the teaching director. Yes, it's my student. Turning to look at Zhang Tao, after all, the teaching director was right beside him, and Yuan's tone became more serious. What's wrong with you? Why were you late for class on Monday? As soon as the problem arose, a student named Zhang Tao felt embarrassed and touched the back of his head, explaining. I helped the old lady cross the road. As soon as this reason came out, everyone in the live broadcast room was laughing uncontrollably. Wow, it's already 2023 and you're still helping grandma cross the road. I'll make up a story. I dreamt of traveling around the world and visiting many countries last night, so I woke up late. Sunshine Rainbow Little White Horse. You're a bit sick upstairs. Your future husband. Then I dreamt that the football game was extremely intense, and they were evenly matched in 2 sets, extending the time. So, I woke up late with honor. Proud, a silver with a lot of feces. You don't love learning, you need to learn from me. I came to make up a story on site. I dreamt that the teacher was giving a lecture and thought it was too interesting. I couldn't help but listen for a while longer. Dog head, indeed, the comments section is full of kings. I apologize for my ignorance. They have a background, but I have a back view. One word is amazing. And as soon as these words were spoken, Yu-1-1 also widened her eyes, and she was about to laugh in anger. She used to disdain using such terrible excuses when she was a child. I didn't expect the little brat now to still use them. Why are you using such a terrible reason? Who owns this class? I'll take you to apologize to the teacher. At present, she immediately adapted to her position as a homeroom teacher. Just as she finished speaking, Zhang Tao grinned and answered without hesitation before meeting. Teacher, this class belongs to you. Upon hearing this, Juventus was taken aback, with a slight smudge on their face. My. Is the first class your own? Thinking that Zhang Tao in front of him did not attend his own class, Yu-1-1 immediately showed the authority of the homeroom teacher, with a raised eyebrow and a slightly stern tone. Dare you be late for my class too? And a scene that fell into the eyes of the audience in the live broadcast room suddenly fell into silence. A few seconds later, the audience reacted one by one. National Female Nerve. Second Olympics. Wait, what did this teacher say? Did I hear it correctly? What does it mean to be late for my class? I have a bold guess. Climbing up the wall and waiting for the red apricot. I also have a bold guess. In other words, this class has already started, but this teacher is still at the school gate now. The audience in the live broadcast room has already restored the truth of the matter. I never expected it. This class has already started. Not only students are late at the school gate, but even teachers are late at the school gate. At this moment, the teaching director across from him also reacted. With a furrowed brow, the face of the teaching director immediately stiffened. Teacher you. Your class, you're not in class. What are you doing at the school gate? Facing the gaze of the teaching director, Yuan cursed inwardly and put on an awkward and polite smile again. Oh my, I didn't expect the salted fish to be caught on the first day. Oh, director, I just helped the old lady cross the road. As soon as he said this, there was a thud, and the photographer holding the machine beside him had already burst out laughing. At this moment, the barrage in the live broadcast room has already started flashing. Is this the stubbornness of teachers born in the 2000s? At this moment, I want to hold up YYDS. I saw that Zhang Tao, who was just a student, also had some doubts about life. He was already 6, but I didn't expect his teacher to be even 6. Why doesn't this teacher's reason have any novelty? Boss, please stir-fry a pot of goosebumps. I twisted 360 degrees, pulled 2 uneven bars, and finally offered my golden knee. I really knelt down. The reaction in the live broadcast room was not clear to the director, but he felt embarrassed as he watched the reactions of the photographer and journalist beside him. You should know that today is the first day of the live broadcast of the program, and the principal repeatedly reminded everyone to behave well yesterday. On the first morning, not only did we capture students being late, but we also captured the teacher being late. Thinking of this, the teaching director's face became stern and his tone became even more stern. Teacher you, stand at the entrance as a punishment. End of this chapter. Since everyone has wholeheartedly asked questions in chapter 3, I will make a big announcement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Since everyone has asked questions wholeheartedly in chapter 3, I will show great compassion and tell you as soon as the teaching director spoke these words, Yu-1-1's face collapsed and he immediately put his hands together, sincerely admitting his mistake. Director, this class is my class. Can I start with it? If I have to stand, will that be fine? The second half of the sentence was not finished by Yuan, and the teaching director also understood her meaning. After all, As a teacher, being punished for standing can be a bit embarrassing paired with her tender face. The teaching director couldn't say anything harsh for a moment. After all, Teacher Yu is a newly recruited teacher, so it's only natural for him to have a bit of a break thinking about it. The severity on the face of the teaching director gradually faded, but due to his identity as the teaching director, he pretended to cough for a moment. Cough, next time I'm late, I'll have to report and criticize. As the head coach relaxed his tone, Juventus's face lit up with joy, and he immediately followed the steps given by the head coach to make a promise. Thank you, Director. I will go to class immediately. As he spoke, Yu Wenwen immediately grabbed Zhang Tao, a student from his class, and hurriedly walked towards the teaching building. And this scene also fell into the live broadcast room, where the barrage speeches were unusually enthusiastic. Neuro Leader Representative. I don't know why, but I see that Teacher Yu always has a bit of joy, dog head. Riding a donkey to find your sister. How dare this post.00's teacher bargain with the teaching director. Bad laugh, Beiji's flower shirt. Camera, keep up. Right, keep up with the camera. I also want to see how the teachers born in the 2000s teach. Does the way she tugs at the student seem a bit cute to me? The bullet screen that was quickly brushed by was seen by the journalist Meow Meow on the side. Seeing that many netizens were interested in each other's talents, journalist Meow Meow signaled to the nearby cameraman and formed a group to follow. At this moment, Yuan did not return to the office first, but ran straight to the classroom of class 11 in high school. As she approached the class, she deliberately slowed down and observed from outside the classroom window. On the podium, there was a class monitor on duty, but the students below were like wild horses that had run free, looking and whispering, as if they were a vegetable market. Yuan walked slowly to the classroom door and coughed deliberately. Sure enough, in the next moment, the entire classroom immediately quieted down like obedient quails. And this scene was also synchronously recorded by the cameraman behind, and the audience in the live broadcast room burst into laughter. My goodness, this is youth. Think about it, I must have been this cowardly back then. Our homeroom teacher used to be like this, always wanting to peek at us outside the window, said the unrestrained leg hair, smart girl goes bald. I'm laughing to death. These students are like mice seeing cats when they see their homeroom teacher. Get out of here. Look at the second to last student in the third row, they've taken their books upside down, For the audience in the live broadcast room, they mostly watch this program to relive campus life. At this moment, countless netizens seem to recall their youth and relive a wave of their youthful campus time. Just as the barrage in the live broadcast room continued to flash, journalist Meow Meow also walked to the back of the classroom with the camera team. In front of Yuan's gaze, journalist Meow Meow nodded in advance to indicate. Watching the camera and machines occupying the back of the classroom, Yuan gradually realized it. The entire experimental high school participated in the recording of the program Walking into School. It seems that on the first day of recording today, the production team is planning to select their own class as a pilot class. At this moment, even though the photography team who entered through the back door was careful enough, they still made a rustling sound, which immediately caught the attention of the students. They immediately turned around and looked back. After all, they are first-year high school students who have just transitioned from junior high school to high school. Currently, they are full of fresh energy and everything they see is particularly interesting. Glancing at the students under the podium, Yuan first signaled the duty monitor sitting on the podium to return to his original position, and then strode to the front of the podium. Just like what everyone saw, the program happened to treat our class as a pilot class. Please remember to perform well. As soon as these words were spoken, the students in the audience immediately became noisy. Cool. Surprisingly, it's our class. If I had known I wanted to wash my hair first, let's see if I'm handsome enough, yeah. Damn it, my bangs really stretch my hips. Watching the whole classroom become noisy again, students were moving around as if bitten by ants, and Yuan knocked on the podium. As soon as the voice rang, the students under the stage immediately sat upright and opened their books. Yu Wenwen couldn't help but smile. Thinking that this class was already a few minutes late, Yowen's mind twitched and he decided to turn it into a review class. Looking back at the progress of the class in memory, Yuwen casually asked. 10 minutes have passed in this class, and there are still 30 minutes left. In the previous class, we finished talking about excerpts from Journey to the West. Do you have any further questions? As soon as the words fell, the chatter in the classroom followed. Teacher, why can't Sun Wukong escape from the palm of the Buddha's hand? I have a question. Why didn't the alchemy furnace of the Supreme Lord refine Sun Wukong? I also have it. Why does the alchemy furnace of the Supreme Lord explode? Also, why did Sun Wukong have fiery eyes and golden eyes? The camera team behind the classroom recorded everything in front of them. When I saw Yuwen going to class, the speed of the barrage scrolling in the live broadcast room was noticeably slower. After all, with 9 years of compulsory education, netizens have already studied enough. Although the program is about reliving campus life, who would still be interested in classroom learning? At this moment, the bizarre questions of these students under the podium were raised, and many netizens were resurrected in place. You'll die if you praise me. About I can't answer high school students' questions, I am the illegitimate son of God. I will also face such a student in 2 years. Crying, students are all talents, covering their faces, the questions asked by the students in this class are a bit skilled. Do the original author Wu Chengyan really know these questions? Doubts, rare you. Student routines are divine, teachers can't resist them. At this moment, Yuwen was unaware that the audience in the live broadcast was worried about her. Instead, she wrote down the students' questions one by one on the blackboard. Watching these questions, there was a hint of strangeness in Yuwen's eyes. If others encounter these 3 problems, they may think that these students are imaginative. But encountering her is really a piece of cake. Yu Guang glanced at the students below the stage, who were obviously proud that they had stumped the teacher. How can this work? I was knocked down by the students, where is the authority of a teacher? Don't steam Mantu for breath. She must show these students why the flowers are so red. With a curl of his mouth, Yuwen pointed at the blackboard and made a gesture. Since everyone has asked wholeheartedly, as your Chinese teacher, I will show great compassion and tell you. As soon as the sound came out, the voices of the students in the class kept coming and going. Is it really fake? Teacher, don't joke. I can take it seriously. As an adult, you can't lie. You should know that not long after the start of this semester, the students in the audience are not yet familiar with their homeroom teachers. Just a few questions, it's obvious that some mischievous troublemakers intentionally ask them to play tricks. At present, when my homeroom teacher was serious about answering one by one, all the students were stunned. At the same time, the audience in the live broadcast room also reacted similarly to these students. Are you joking, teacher Yu? Is there a God in the live broadcast room who can explain those 3 questions? Do you really have an answer to these strange questions? I feel like I might not even know if I dug Wu Chengyan out of the coffin. At this moment, both the students in the audience and the netizens in the live broadcast room turned their gaze to the Yuwen on the podium. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Why Sun Wukong can't escape from the palm of the Buddha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why can't Sun Wukong escape from the palm of the Buddha in Chapter 4? I saw Yuwen picking up chalk from the podium, and his cheerful voice flowed throughout the classroom. First answer the first question, why can't Sun Wukong escape from the palm of the Buddha's hand? Glancing at the students under the stage, seeing that most of them were still looking at him with half faith and half doubt, Yu Wenwen couldn't help but smile in his heart. Dealing with these little brats, she hasn't been easily captured yet. Everyone knows that Sun Wukong's somersault cloud is 108,000 miles. The period when Sun Wukong caused havoc in the heavenly palace was during the Tang dynasty, which was 500 years ago, also known as the Han dynasty. So how much was 1 mile in the Han dynasty? 415.8 meters. So, how far is the 108,000 miles of Judean? 45,000 kilometers, isn't it? At this point, the students below have already exclaimed in surprise. The students clearly did not expect to interpret Sun Wukong's somersault cloud in this way. However, with Yuan's explanation, many students showed even greater doubts on their faces. What is the relationship between Sun Wukong's inability to escape from the palm of the Buddha's hand? At the same time, there were also netizens in the live broadcast room who had the same doubts as the students. Do you have any experts to guide you? I have a headache and I can't understand it anymore. How can I break it? Secret love is the most cost-effective option. What does it have to do with not being able to escape from the Tathagata Buddha? My big eyes, big doubts. The divine explanation seems to have a hint of rationality in its absurdity. While netizens were discussing in the live broadcast room, the voice of Juventus civilized and fast-paced continued to speak in the classroom. Based on the middle school geography knowledge we have learned, we live inside the atmosphere. What is the thickness of the atmosphere in kilometers? How many kilometers is the heavenly palace from the ground? What is the radius of the Earth in kilometers? As soon as 3 consecutive questions were thrown out, it seemed like a bomb, completely enveloping the entire class. What is the situation? As he watched the stunned students, Yuan's eyebrows furrowed and his hands paused. This won't happen. Isn't it true that today's post-2000s children are knowledgeable and proficient in everything? Why don't you even know basic knowledge? Although Yuan did not speak at this moment, her expression had already fallen into the eyes of all the students in the class. For a moment it was more silent than sound. In response to Yuan's puzzled gaze, the students below instantly felt as if they were being looked down upon. Raise your hand, the student committee, you should quickly raise your hand. In the classroom, students are already whispering to the study committee. It's like saying to the study committee member, please answer quickly and help us regain face. Upon hearing this sound, the learning committee member still sat in an extremely upright position, but his head had already slightly shaken. Obviously speaking in their own language. I don't know this question either, it's too difficult. Just as each student was pondering and unable to come up with an answer, a trembling little hand lifted up from its seat. For a moment, admiring eyes surged from the audience, as if shouting in support. Juventus also turned her gaze to see the class monitor Zhou Bo. She nodded and gestured for the monitor to speak. Teacher, the radius of the Earth is approximately 6,000 kilometers. Upon hearing this, Yuan also nodded and said. It could be more precise, actually it's 6,370 kilometers. Watching the smile on the face of class monitor Zhou Bo pause, Yuan's next sentence gave him great confidence. The answer is also quite good, after all, this is a scoring question, and the class monitor at least has some common sense. The class monitor Zhou Bo, who was unsure for a moment whether this sentence was a criticism or praise, sat in a daze in his seat. At this moment, the other students seemed to have been shot by this void. What does it mean to have at least some common sense? By comparison, isn't it that others don't have common sense? Journalist Meow Meow, located in the back row of the classroom, was also greatly puzzled when she heard the question just now. At present, out of her professional habit, she looked towards the live broadcast room and saw that the barrage in the live broadcast room had quickly started flashing. Your soap has fallen off. This is a scoring question. It seems like my teacher at school said, this is a scoring question, you don't even know it. Me. I really don't know it. So I'm also someone without common sense. At this moment, I suddenly feel like I'm being dominated by class. I don't know any of the 3 questions, so I'm here to be the denominator. My colleague is hesitant. Damn it, I'm clearly a bachelor's degree graduate, how come it feels like I didn't graduate from junior high school? At this moment, the audience in the live broadcast room is also in a daze, recalling one by one what the scoring questions were from back then. Is this really a bonus question? How come everyone seems to be coming from the world to gather numbers? On the podium filmed in the live broadcast room, the voice of Yuan continued to ring. Since no one knows, let me tell you. The thickness of the atmosphere is 1,000 kilometers. The heavenly palace is 400 kilometers above the ground. The radius of the earth is 6,370 kilometers. Given these three data points, I would like to ask everyone, how much is it to circle the earth from the heavenly palace? Is it 45,000 kilometers? Isn't this exactly the distance of Sun Wukong's somersault cloud? As soon as Yuan finished speaking, he thought the whole class would suddenly realize. But as she looked back at the entire class, she found that the students below were almost writing question marks in their eyes. Each eye was clear, as if with a hint of foolishness. No, no, no. As a teacher, how can you complain about your students so roast? Yuan instinctively reflected for a second, but then decisively gave up the idea. No roast, no happiness. I've finished answering. Do you have any more questions? As soon as these words were spoken, the entire classroom fell silent. At the same time, a series of question marks immediately flooded the live broadcast room. Why do I feel that even seeing such a simple question on Teacher Yu's face wouldn't make me feel disgusted? I don't want you to think, I want me to think. Upstairs, upstairs, that's not speculation, it's a real hammer. Oh, mistress, please don't fall to death. Do you have any friends who want to understand? I love mathematics, I love mathematics. Wait for me to calculate, which means that the thickness of the atmosphere plus the distance from the sky, plus the radius of the earth, can give us the circumference of our entire earth, which means. At this moment, Zhang Tao, who had followed Yuan the latest, raised his hand. Teacher, what does this have to do with Sun Wukong's inability to escape from the palm of the Buddha's hand? Juventus held a chalk hand and remained silent for 3 seconds. In these 3 seconds, the whole class's gaze turned towards Zhang Tao. As if saying, can't we pretend to understand without understanding? Why must we expose our foolishness? It's embarrassing. And student Zhang Tao has always had a thick skin, and he even raised an eyebrow at the other students who were looking over. Am I the only one who doesn't understand? You didn't understand either. Suddenly, the air seemed to be filled with layers of embarrassment. And this scene also fell into the eyes of Yuan. She spread out her hand and simply explained the final step of the derivation process, hating that the iron could not become a steel path. Have you not realized yet? The earth is round, and Sun Wukong flipped a somersault cloud from the heavenly palace. In fact, it's just the palm of the hand that can fly out of the Tathagata after circling around the earth and returning to the origin. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. With such a Chinese teacher teaching geography, why worry about not being able to learn? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. With such a Chinese teacher teaching geography, why worry about not being able to learn chemistry? Upon hearing this, the students in the audience looked at Yuan with different eyes. Since learning that their homeroom teacher is a post.00s teacher, coupled with Teacher Yu's delicate appearance, most students naturally have no fear of the old teacher. That is to say, each one is more polite than others, but lacks respect. And now, as soon as this issue is explained, the entire class immediately becomes heated up. So it looks like this. I understand, wow, that's how it can be calculated. Is this using geography to defeat Chinese? Why didn't I react just now? At this moment, the reaction of the netizens in the live broadcast room is exactly the same as that of the students in the audience. National Cooking Woman. Please ask for guidance from the great deity. What should I do if I haven't understood yet? I don't want to doubt my intelligence, but I have to doubt it. I'll break it down. This is actually a middle school arithmetic problem, which is to find the circumference of a circle. Du Zedong said, I was stunned, as if I understood, but also as if I didn't understand. Comrades, are we really in the Chinese language classroom? My heart is like underwear and I can't show it to anyone casually. It's only then that I realize that this is actually a Chinese class. If you don't say it, I already believe it's a math class. I think this is a geography class, dog head. At this moment, the interest of the audience in the live broadcast room has been fully aroused. More and more people are starting to share their live broadcasts. Some have been forwarded to their own large group, some have been forwarded to their moments, and some have even been forwarded to the entire platform. As a result, the data in the live broadcast room quickly rose step by step. And the leap in data quickly fell into the eyes of journalist Miao Miao, who had been staring at the data in the live broadcast room. You should know that our own program is a campus live broadcast program, and the program team has also prepared for the low popularity early on. Especially during the early morning broadcast, it is a time when many workers are still in their dreams. Reporter Miao Miao couldn't help but rub her eyes at the moment. You should know that when it started broadcasting this morning, the number of people in the live broadcast room was less than 4 digits. At this moment, the data in the live broadcast room has exceeded 10,000, and it is expected to exceed 20,000. Holding her fist tightly, journalist Miao Miao's eyes flashed with excitement. Excited, she couldn't help but look at Teacher Yu in the camera. Her intuition told her that the climb in data is definitely related to Teacher Yu in front of her. On the other hand, students who have been showcased by Juventus have become even more lively now. Quick, fast, next question, why hasn't Sun Wukong been refined by the alchemy furnace? Right, teacher, I also want to know this question. Please explain to us quickly. In the classroom, you and I kept talking one after another, and the students below looked at Teacher Yu on the podium with hopeful eyes. Where is there any initial doubt or disbelief? Obviously, Yuan Wen's just revealed hand has completely conquered the students. It was originally just a joke about a few mischievous troublemakers, but I didn't expect to receive such a unique answer. Quoting classics and crossing multiple disciplines sounds particularly reasonable. The questions that students are answering are becoming increasingly urgent. At this moment, not only students, but also the audience in the live broadcast room. What should I do? I'll get addicted to watching this teacher's live broadcast. Giving cigarettes but not fire is purely teasing me. I clearly stumbled upon this program, but now I am listening with relish. This teacher is poisonous. Conquering your mom to be your dad. I'm also looking forward to the next question. Is there anyone who can explain it first, great God? May I ask for the contact information of this female teacher? I would like to add her as a friend. Get out of here upstairs, educational programs are not allowed to be obscene. At this point, the speed of bullet screen scrolling in the live broadcast room is significantly faster than at the beginning, and more netizens are constantly pouring into the live broadcast room. In the live broadcast room, you can see that Yuan has already started explaining the second question. The second question is why Sun Wukong was not refined in the alchemy furnace. First of all, let me ask everyone, what is the alchemy furnace of Tai Shang Lao Jun used to burn? This question is so simple, as soon as the voice of Yuan fell, most of the students in the classroom blurted it out. Teacher, I know the elixir. It's already a alchemy furnace, it must be a pill. I know, coal. As the group of students eagerly answered, Yuan pointed his hand and immediately picked out the most accurate answer. Classmates, of course the elixir is also correct, but when we look at problems, we need to see the essence through phenomena. The answer is coal. As the words fell, the student who answered correctly immediately straightened their back, with a hint of excitement about being praised on their face. As if saying, look. I am a person who can see the essence through phenomena. On the podium, Yuan grasped the pace of the class and immediately began to ask the next question. What is the highest temperature that coal can reach? Do you know this middle school science question? As soon as the problem arose, he glanced at the entire classroom and Yuan immediately had a clear idea. If everyone knew the answer and would have raised their hands eagerly, where would it be like a peaceful scene? With this thought in mind, Yuan continued speaking on his own. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you. At this moment, Yuan's words fell, and many students seemed to have their faces awkwardly spread one by one. There is always a feeling that the teacher is trying to show respect for themselves. What is this situation? At this moment, not only these students, but also the netizens in the live broadcast room have a similar feeling. This teacher is giving a serious lecture, while I am listening attentively, said Fan Xiangxiang. The competition pressure for teachers born in the 2000s is so high now. The knowledge components need to be so complex to be effective, said the twin, thank goodness. It seems that Mr. Wu Qingyan really has a wide range of knowledge. Ground Beetle is the elder brother of the local tyrant. So I saw a lonely journey to the west. With such a Chinese teacher teaching geography, why worry about not being able to learn chemistry? I feel like I'm back on campus, and I'm most afraid of the feeling of being asked questions at this moment, said Li Gooden in class. Yuan's explanation came to an end, and she shook her arm and said with one stroke of determination. The maximum temperature of coal can reach 1,200 degrees. And Sun Wukong jumped out of a stone, which is mainly composed of silica, with a melting point of 1,600 degrees, the answer is already out. Can this 1,200 degree stove burn Sun Wukong, whose melting point is 1,600 degrees, out? As the words fell, I saw the stunned expressions of the students below. Everyone's expressions seemed to be saying, can we still explain it this way? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Netizens request all the information about this teacher. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Netizens request all the information about this teacher. At the same time, the barrage in the live broadcast room surged rapidly. The sweet appearance speaks of unsweetness. I want to confirm again, is this a Chinese class? Don't step on the wildflowers on the roadside. My goodness, are Chinese teachers so busy these days? It has deeply raised the entry threshold for Chinese teachers. As a novice Chinese language teacher who is about to graduate from a normal university, it shines in my eyes. Are the teachers of the new generation born in the 2000s so awesome? At this moment, the speed of the bullet screen is getting faster and faster. For a moment, the journalist Meow Meow beside her felt a bit dizzy. She couldn't help but grip the notebook in her hand, and the light in her eyes grew brighter and brighter. Unexpectedly, a Chinese language teacher born in the 2000s has attracted so much discussion. In this program, I followed this novice teacher to class 11 of high school, and I really came the right way. At present, the cameraman on the side is still constantly recording the situation in the classroom. At this moment, the entire classroom was filled with admiration as the students looked at Yuan in front of them. Teacher, hurry up, there's also my question. Why does the alchemy furnace of Tai Shang Lao Jun explode? Yes, you must also know, teacher. Can you tell me quickly? Didn't Sun Wukong kick it? Did it explode? Teacher, am I very clever? Watching the whole class clamoring to ask the next question, Yuan couldn't help but snort coldly. Do you still need to ask such a simple question? Did you learn chemistry for nothing? Thinking of this, Yuan didn't get angry and scolded with a smile. Let you read more books in your daily life, don't even know this. Sun Wukong's main tissue components are not only silica, but also calcium carbonate. What does calcium carbonate decompose into when exposed to high temperature? Calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. A large amount of carbon dioxide is being squeezed, and it's strange that the furnace won't explode. As soon as the bright voice came out, the entire classroom fell into silence. Many students see shock in each other's eyes as they look at each other. Surprisingly, this is the truth. This is clearly a reaction of a chemical equation. How could it be used to defeat Chinese? For a moment, each student was simply stunned, obviously shocked and unable to react. 10 seconds later, the entire class suddenly exploded like water falling into an oil pot. Too much knowledge, too much knowledge. Can we still understand it this way? Teacher, you are simply an encyclopedia. Teacher, why do you even know this? Just as the whole class was immersed in excitement, mischievous Zhang Tao shouted directly at the last question on the blackboard. Teacher, there is one final question, why can Sun Wukong practice his fiery eyes and golden eyes? As soon as Zhang Tao's voice came out, the other students in the class immediately began to ask questions. Yeah, yes. The last question. Quick, fast. Teacher, tell us quickly. However, when faced with questions from the students in the audience, Yuan glanced at the time on his watch first. There are only 5 minutes left until the end of class. Class is almost over, what other classes are there? Thinking of this, Yuan picked up the bag he hastily brought this morning and said something to himself. That's all for today's class, class is over. After speaking, Yuan walked straight out of the classroom without looking back, leaving behind the students in the classroom with a shocked expression on their faces. Wait, what's going on? Didn't class end yet? Why didn't the teacher procrastinate? You came later than us and ran earlier than us. Isn't there still 5 minutes left? The whispers of the students in the classroom echoed one after another. After all, as an ordinary high school, which teacher doesn't procrastinate? How could it not shock the students in front of me that there is such a fresh and refined teacher who has finished classes early? And this scene was also captured in real time by the live broadcast room, and the netizens in the live broadcast room had already burst into laughter one by one. I'm just slacking off, right? Huan Kuai. Are you overtly thinking of ending classes early? Good guy. I was still immersed in the worship of this teacher with my front foot, but my back foot made me laugh. School is like a prison. 666, today, I was so open-minded. At this moment, the netizens in the live broadcast room seemed to have their worldviews refreshed one by one. The campus life, which was originally thought to be dull, boring, seems to have added a different kind of fun because of Teacher Yu. So, the barrage in the live broadcast room seemed to explode. More and more netizens are exclaiming that they are enjoying watching it, and various tips and gifts are constantly flowing in. The user, Huan Kuai, gave a gift, a sports car. The user, rounded to 2 meters tall, gave a gift, carnival. User, person with fecal volume, gave a gift, super rocket. For a moment, the entire live broadcast room was filled with gift scrolling. Large waves of colorful fireworks and various colorful special effects appeared one after another in the entire live broadcast room, instantly covering up everyone's speech. Meanwhile, journalist Meow Meow, who had been observing the screen of the live broadcast room, now widened her eyes even more. The number of online viewers in the live broadcast room has skyrocketed and quickly exceeded 30,000. In the incredible eyes of journalist Meow Meow, the number of online viewers in the live broadcast room instantly exceeded 40,000. In just a few minutes, the number of people in the live broadcast room climbed to 50,000. For a moment, the entire camera team was stunned. You should know that the program has been lukewarm before. Even the ratings and likes data under the news of the program's launch are only 3 digits. Unexpectedly, today is just the first day of broadcasting, and all the data has exploded. Meanwhile, in the office of a commercial office building, Linxi's hands had been resting on the computer keyboard for a long time without realizing it, while his gaze remained focused on the nearby phone. Originally, he was just processing documents at work and casually scrolling through short videos. At the beginning of watching the live program, walking into school, Linxi felt a bit bored. However, after all, it's still early and there aren't many live broadcasts to choose from at this time. With the idea of revisiting campus life, Linshi patiently continued to watch. Unconsciously, his gaze was completely drawn to the post.00's teacher named Yuan in front of him. The student was late for the show, but the teacher took the lead in being late too. Although she is a Chinese teacher, she talks about geography and chemistry in class with great enthusiasm, but no one feels embarrassed to say that she deviates from the topic. Although class hasn't finished yet, this teacher finishes class faster than anyone else. Second Olympics. This teacher is simply a new era worker. Is this the current post.00's teacher? I just wanted to brush for a few minutes to pass the time, but I didn't expect an hour to pass. With this in mind, Linshi quickly tapped on the computer keyboard, edited the scene she had just recorded, and then uploaded it to her own video platform. Linshi's purpose is quite simple. A teacher like this old 6, solo music is not as good as group music. He must share it with more people and let everyone take a look together. Not long after, as soon as the video was uploaded, the number of comments and likes below skyrocketed. In just 1 hour, the number of likes immediately reached 100,000, and the number of comment entries reached 10,000. At this moment, the voices of comments converge and can all coalesce into one question. Who is this teacher? I need all the information about this teacher. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The program became popular overnight and exploded on the internet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. The program became popular overnight and exploded on the internet. You should know that the youngest group of workers in the workplace before was the post.90s generation. At this moment, as soon as the label of the post.00's teacher is released, it seems to announce to the world that the post.00's have begun to enter the workplace. And in this way, the post.2000 generation has brought a unique and fresh blood to the workplace. Currently, not only videos have become popular, but also Teacher You in the video has become popular. And more netizens have also edited the entire segment of the live broadcast program. Even many marketing accounts have started forwarding this video content after seeing it. The video suddenly surged to the hot search rankings of several platforms. Weibo Hot Search. Teacher born in 2000. If a student is late, I am also late. Teacher born in the 2000s. Never procrastinate after class, even in advance. Do Wu Cheng'en also understand chemistry and geography? Finally waiting for teachers born in the 2000s at this time. It happens to be working hours in the morning, and many office workers usually catch a fish at this time. When you open your phone, you will find that many of the hot search lists at this time are related to teachers born in the 2000s. For a moment, many people immediately developed a strong interest. Have all the post.00's started entering the workplace? Upon clicking on the entry, a group of netizens were stunned. Is this the teacher born in 2000? Because you have been delayed, do not delay, instead, do it in advance. Because students are going to be late, why can't I, as a teacher, be late? What a living teacher, Lou. On the other hand, this teacher's unexpected way of answering in class has simply sparked a strong interest in the group of post.00's teachers. After all, everyone has seen so many teachers from childhood to adulthood. Most teachers follow the framework and template of reference answers when answering questions. No matter how much we deviate from the answer, we won't deviate into the ditch. In the current video, although it was a student's wild question, it was also answered by the post.00's teacher in front of them in a wild way. Although it is a whimsical idea about journey to the West that even the original author may not be able to answer, it has been explained one by modern chemical equations and geographical knowledge. Still answering so seriously, speaking logically, and speaking confidently. I hardly know how many people's chins were shocked. Once a video clip is released, it simply triggers a group of crazy comments from post.90s, post.00s, and even post.10s. Surprisingly, the post.00s have started to become teachers. I only have capital letters of admiration for teacher you. I feel like I've read Journey to the West, as if I've been feeling lonely. It turns out that Journey to the West can still be told like this, leaving me speechless, as if I understood but not yet. Is it the teacher talking nonsense seriously, or am I pretending to be listening attentively? As I am about to enter the podium, I feel like I have learned. As a student born in the 10th generation, I really appreciate it. Can you still play like this? The 90s generation says they have opened up their horizons. At this moment, many viewers born in the 2000s are already excited. After all, everyone happens to be in the age range of job hunting. Originally, in everyone's view, the only advantage of a teacher's job was having a secure job and stable income during droughts and floods. In addition to this advantage, in the eyes of many, teaching work is usually repetitive, cyclical, repetitive, boring, and uninteresting. At this moment, everyone was surprised to find that the teacher also had such a fun scene. It can be so mediocre, it can be so interdisciplinary, it can be so humorous and witty. This scene simply attracted a steady stream of fresh graduates. One by one, they made up their minds on the spot. I also want to take the teaching qualification exam and become a teacher. Born in the 2000s. At this moment, students born in the 10th generation are seeing the program and expressing their inability to resist. Unexpectedly, this post-2000s teacher has a wide range of knowledge and is the sixth in action. Watching this teacher take the lead in being late and even leaving early, he put on a more open attitude than his students. One by one, the students born in the 10th generation are crazily launching emojis to show their hands. Is this teacher too amazing? At this time, while netizens of different age groups are crazily discussing this video, many people are also quickly reaching the end of their browsing. For a moment, everyone felt unsatisfied. Why did it end so quickly? It's not even enough to look at. Following the video, many people immediately started searching. So, the program team behind the video, walking into the campus, immediately jumped into everyone's field of vision. Quickly, a steady stream of netizens followed the video directly to the live broadcast room, and the number of online viewers in the entire live broadcast room continued to climb. For journalist Meow Meow, when she looked up again to see the number of people online, her face was still a bit dazed. Isn't the original number of online users approaching 50,000? Why did it suddenly fall to 10,000? But when she wiped her glasses and fixed her gaze on the numbers above the live broadcast room again, she remained in place. At this moment, the number of online users is not 10,000, it's clearly 100,000. A total of 100,000 online viewers have far exceeded the current broadcast record. My heart was beating rapidly, and journalist Meow Meow immediately started calling the director's team. Director, our program has exploded, completely exploded. And just after journalist Meow Meow hung up on the phone, the director of the production team still couldn't believe it. He twisted his thigh tightly until there was a noticeable pain in it, and then the director muttered to himself in a daze. I'm not dreaming. All of this is actually true. You should know that, walking into school, is after all a campus program. The popularity of campus programs is incomparable to programs related to entertainment idol shows, and those with poor attention-grabbing skills are simply 100 or 8,000 miles away. At first, the director thought that the maximum number of online viewers for this program was 50 to 60,000, which was the limit. But unexpectedly, on the first day of the live broadcast, a post-00s Chinese teacher broke the director's original estimate. At present, he can no longer guess the future trend. The current data situation is really beyond his control. After all, he is already prepared for the street show, where have he seen such a terrifying rise in popularity. And the only thing he can be certain of right now is the program is really popular. A big fire is raging. At this moment, as the barrage in the live broadcast room was so fast that the text in front of them could no longer be seen clearly, and the screen even began to blur and shake, the director quickly reacted. Quickly add a server to prevent live streaming from crashing. As soon as the sound came out, the staff behind them immediately became busy. At this moment, no one will deny a fact. The program went viral overnight. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Binding of Divine Popularity Lottery System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Binding of Divine Popularity Lottery System. On the other hand, just after Yuan left, the students in the classroom fixed their eyes on Yuan's departure. Even though teacher you taught Chinese before, why did you completely change your style today? The previous lesson on Journey to the West was also taught by teacher you, but I never expected that the post-class review this time would be thousands of times more humorous and witty. The question was clearly a joke, but it was explained seriously. Not to mention that teacher you immediately staged what it means to be late at the beginning of class, and even staged what it means to leave early after class. Even the departing figure seemed to carry a hint of unrestrained love and freedom. In the 5 minutes after Juventus left, all the students were still immersed in the shock brought by teacher you and couldn't extricate themselves. Ringing bell. At this moment, the bell rang for the end of class, and the classroom immediately became bustling like a vegetable market with a market open. The class just now was too magical, wasn't it? My Thunder Emperor Gaga shocked my eyes. Why did teacher you suddenly change his style? Last week's style wasn't like this. My goodness, I really want to know why son Wukong can be trained to have fiery eyes and golden eyes. I feel like Wu Cheng'en is about to jump out of the coffin. It's absolutely amazing. I didn't even feel like I had a Chinese class just now, it was just a chemistry class. What chemistry class? It's clearly a geography class, isn't it good? I don't know why, but I think teacher Yu is so cool today. It's so cool. A group of students gathered in a lively crowd to discuss, and at this moment, one of the students turned around to look at Zhang Tao, who was still sitting in a daze. Now, they even threw the topic away. Zhang Tao, you happen to come over with teacher Yu today. Do you feel like teacher Yu has changed people? At this moment, Zhang Tao, who was called by his name, reached out and touched his forehead. Seeing his classmates around him all smiling, for some reason, he suddenly remembered what teacher Yu had said when he walked by this morning. Zhang Tao, your Chinese score is the last in the class, right? Zhang Tao only remembers nodding foolishly at the time. At this moment, recalling Yuan's expression, for some reason, Zhang Tao suddenly shuddered. I suddenly had a sudden ominous feeling. After leaving the classroom, Yuan on the other side had already returned to the office first. After all, the bell for the end of class has not yet sounded, and most teachers are still in the classroom at this time. Yu Wenwen was the first to return to his office. Just as he sat in his office seat, Yuan immediately collapsed and sat up. Oh my! As a salted fish, we must adhere to the principle of being able to lie down without sitting, and being able to sit without standing. Besides, for teachers, the first class in the morning is like a gardener who ravages our country. Even if the daily slogan is, "Morning 8 makes me happy and grows," I cannot do without it in the teacher's mind, who wouldn't have scolded this first class so badly. At this moment, Yuan sat half paralyzed in his seat and picked up the schedule from the table. As she watched, her eyes couldn't help but squint. The next morning's fourth class is clearly my own class's physical education class. Why is there a big fork in physical education class? Also noted in Chinese. Don't you mean you still have to teach yourself? Yuan quickly recalled from his mind. Originally, I was afraid of not having enough courses before, so I specifically applied to switch with the physical education teacher. At the moment, I'm afraid I might forget the class, so I made a special mark. Thinking of this, Yuan quickly opened his phone and clicked a few times before sending a message. Teacher Fang, the third physical education class is still as usual, and students' physical exercise and physical fitness cultivation are still very important. In the next moment, a OK gesture popped up in the dialog box indicating that the note was for the physical education teacher, and Yuan immediately curled his lips. Adding classes is impossible. Rest is the most precious. Just as Yuan smiled and closed his phone, ready to open it to continue watching dramas, a strange electronic sound suddenly rang in his mind. Ding! A suitable host has been detected, and the divine level popularity lottery system is currently activated. Task progress is 1%, 2%. Ding! Activation successful, divine level popularity lottery system has been bound. Divine level popular lottery system. Upon hearing the sound of the system, Yuan was taken aback. At the next moment, there was a hint of joy in her eyes. This is the standard configuration for the traveler, one system per person. Yuan, who is used to reading online novels, is naturally very familiar with the system. Now, she quickly began to check in her mind. Not long after, Yuan learned that his system could win a lottery opportunity through popularity. As for popularity, Yuan has quickly opened his system panel. Host. Yuan, system. Divine level popularity lottery system, popularity value. 689 points. The habit of reading 10 lines at a glance immediately made Yuan see the last line of the system panel. This popularity value has already reached 680 points. In the next moment, a crisp electronic sound rang out again. Based on the current popularity of the host, do you want to spend 500 points in the primary lottery? Can we directly draw a lottery now? Juventus' eyes lit up. Listening to the sound of the system right now, Yuan answered without hesitation. Lottery. The sound fell, and the system suddenly saw a dazzling turntable. The turntable quickly turned, and soon the pointer stopped on one of the options. Ding! Congratulations to the host for winning 5,000 renminbi in the lottery, which has been automatically transferred to your bank account, 5,000 renminbi. I didn't expect this system to send money directly. Surprisingly, it's an incredibly straightforward 5,000 yuan. Juventus felt a sense of dark pleasure in his heart. She originally wanted to be a rotten salted fish, but she didn't expect the system to give her money for nothing. This simply continues to add a lot of support to her journey of salted fish, making her even more comfortable to lie down on. At this moment, Yuan's eyes rolled around, and a question suddenly lingered in his heart. Where did this wave of popularity come from just now? Thinking about it, Yuan suddenly remembered the live streaming team in the back row of the classroom just now. You should know that this program was broadcasted live throughout, and since that's the case, my teaching style should have been captured throughout. The popularity just now probably came from the live broadcast room of the program. That is to say, in order to get a steady stream of lottery opportunities, one must at least continuously increase their popularity. How can we increase popularity? I'm afraid I have to choose the gameplay with the most barrage. Soon, a series of ideas suddenly popped up in Yuan's mind. Thinking about the way he will interact with his students in the future, at this moment, Yuan's mouth curved with a wicked smile. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Are you going to become a biology teacher? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Are you going to become a biology teacher? Ding-ling-ling. The bell rings for the third class. Surprisingly, there were no teachers from other subjects who came early to seize the physical education class. The preparation bell hasn't been ringing yet. The students in class 11 of high school have long run to the playground to freely move around. The sky is clear and the sun is green. The students are having a lively activity on campus, creating a beautiful scene of lush greenery. The live broadcast team followed the classmates from class 11 to the playground, and the live broadcast scene presented in the live room was filled with lively discussions among netizens. Some are chased by dogs. Where is this? They look so beautiful outside their school, and there's also a small bell tower. I envy them so much. Really, when I see them, I immediately think of the past youth. I secretly held the hand of my first love in physical education class. I really miss the past days. You get married, I rob you. I envy them too. Why do they have physical education classes in their freshman year? With so many teachers in the 9 subjects, they are very annoyed and always want to take up classes. The plastic playground at school is so new and new. Fists are hard, handsome enough to be hacked. Yeah. Originally, physical education classes were meant to do activities for students, and this teacher took up a bit. That teacher talked for a while, and I haven't been out much for a semester. I will be joining the teaching profession next year, and I strongly advocate giving physical education classes to children. At the same time, physical education teacher Yang Jin has come out of the office and slowly walked towards class 11 in the center of the playground. In the crooked class line, Shen Tai stood next to Zhang Tao and said, "Zhang Tao, are you saying this is true? Yesterday, you said that the Chinese teacher would take up this class." Zhang Tao frowned and couldn't figure it out. "Yeah, I've always been well informed. I don't know why the Chinese teacher isn't here. Is something up?" "Hey, don't worry about him. Anyway, our class only has physical education classes for the whole grade." Shen Tai was sweating from playing and standing in the queue foolishly. Of course. The students waiting for physical education class on the playground are just scratching their heads and can't figure it out, actually because Juventus doesn't want to have an extra class. Their physical education teacher is currently fine. After warming up, the physical education teacher stood in front of all the students in class 11 and said, "All right, classmates. In this class, we will have a physical education test. There are 1,000 boys and 800 girls. The starting point is for the boys at the opposite marker, and the girls will start running from here. Now give time to prepare." As soon as it was announced that there would be a sports test today, the students immediately erupted into a wail in the center. "Ah, it's another sports test, I don't want to run. Isn't it? I thought I could play after finally coming out. Can we not run today?" A group of students with ugly faces immediately appeared on the playground. But from the high-definition live broadcast screen above, you can clearly capture the strange expressions on the faces of a few girls. The whispers one by one seemed to be discussing something. Not long after, 3 or 4 girls walked out from behind the class and said to the physical education teacher, "Well, teacher, I'm not feeling well today and it seems like I can't take the exam." "Teacher, me too," Yang Jin nodded, indicating that these girls could intern on the playground. The 3 of them immediately felt delighted and were preparing to run away from the crowd. Ah hey, those who are not aware of it just like watching this. It's really uncomfortable to cry, and all your internal organs are in pain. Squatting on the street eating spicy noodles. Hey hee hee, I've already seen what these 3 people want to do. Back then, when I was in school, I did this kind of thing a lot. Sitting in front of the grave flirting with ghosts. Tut, our school is very troublesome. Every time we have to ask the teacher for a note, we can't find anyone at the critical time. Ah ha, isn't that me? I haven't been to the running test in my high school physical education class for 3 years, haha. At this moment, a beautiful figure walked from afar. Getting closer and closer. I saw a teacher from class 11 in high school, Yu-Wen-Wen, appearing in the live broadcast camera. Among the students here, Shen Tai had sharp eyes and was the first to see the appearance of a female teacher. "Tao. What's going on? Didn't you say that the Chinese teacher didn't come to grab classes? This class is only halfway through, will you let us go back to the classroom?" From a distance, I could see the new Chinese teacher coming this way in the morning. Shen Tai hurriedly ran to Zhang Tao's side and lowered his voice to inquire anxiously. He really doesn't want to study and would rather let him cry and run outside. It's better than sitting in the classroom and listening. How do I know? Zhang Tao also lowered his voice and replied, however, I think teacher Yu is different from other teachers and shouldn't be so unkind. In the live broadcast room screen, it can be clearly observed that the students in the class looked up with confusion. At this point, why did the Chinese teacher come? The Chinese teacher is here, and you should say goodbye to your dear physical education class, said China Mobile, the user has faked a corpse. Ha ha ha, don't laugh to death in front of me. I've been caught in the rain, and other children can't attend physical education classes, right? The back teeth have been bitten to pieces. I finally had a physical education class. If this teacher calls them back at this time, I will make a scene. The Chinese teacher's legs are really hot, isn't they? I said it's really a day. I am the village chief. Upstairs, you can't drink from the children's table. Hello classmates, is it hot or not? I'm sweating all over while running. Juventus carried a box of small drinks and took small steps towards the school cafeteria, carefully examining the packaging and air conditioning. Woohoo! Zhang Tao and Shen Tai changed their faces the fastest, shouting thank you to the teacher and running over to pick up their drinks. Facing the scorching sun, I took a sip of ice water and a refreshing cold drink immediately slid down. I was completely reborn with blood from inside out. Juventus greeted the sports teacher with a smile, and then turned around to take a look at the girl resting next to her. Why don't you guys follow along and exercise? Teacher, we're not feeling well and can't run. A few girls sitting under the shade of a tree laughing while talking to Juventus, the laughter on their faces had not yet subsided. Juventus didn't respond any further, but she could tell at a glance that several girls were not being able to sit under the tree and play with such energy. My face was full of energy and there was no expression of pain at all. Even my posture was very casual and casual. Juventus sighed coldly in his heart, seeing that these students were using their period break as a reason. Juventus did not point it out on the spot, but turned around and told all the students in the class. When exercising, you will sweat a lot, and don't forget to replenish water to maintain the balance of body electrolytes, otherwise you will experience a series of symptoms such as faster heartbeat and dizziness. Whale bathing. Aha, the Chinese teacher's small class is starting now. Are you going to become a biology teacher again? Look at our teachers born in the 2000s who are knowledgeable, talented, and considerate towards their students. Who else can be as popular as our group of teachers now? Cute face thief. Believe it. Where could a teacher come out to deliver water in hot weather? Tell me this is just a dream, sob. In the live broadcast room, barrage praising Yuan passed one after another. But no one noticed. At this moment, a subtle smile flashed at the corner of Yuan's mouth. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Puncture the heart as soon as you speak. Students want to lie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Puncture the heart as soon as you speak. Students want to lie. I didn't expect the Chinese teacher to be so good. I'll just hang out with the teacher in the future. Zhang Tao stood in place holding a small drink, bared his big teeth, and laughed heartily at Shen Tai. As his best friend, Shen Tai immediately jumped out to fight back and said with a disdainful expression. Judging from your achievements, I bought you off with just a sip of water, unlike me who has my own firm stance. Hey, why are you grabbing my water? On a hot day, the students in class 11 of high school gradually finished their long-distance running. I hate it, I didn't meet such a teacher when I was in school, and I even bought drinks. I'm also a teacher. Today, I saw this post.00s teacher take a series of good measures, and I was very inspired in my daily interactions with students. Thank you very much. Where's the middle school? I'll contact my dad right now to transfer me. Cinderella wants to become an immortal. The young master upstairs has a heartless invitation here. Just as the barrage began to make jealous sounds, a few girls standing aside without running also grabbed a few bottles of water in their hands. Upon seeing it, Juventus walked up directly and said with a smile, "Is it delicious?" What are the thoughts of the female student who just started middle school? Ko Chin Yen, standing on the left, immediately returned. "It's delicious. I love strawberry-flavored food the most." Juventus seemed to have some meaning on the surface, as she nodded and said, "Oh, isn't it time for my period? I can't drink ice." Directly on the spot, exposed the previous excuses of a few people. Oh. It turns out that every time I think about this little teacher cracking down on students, there's another way, he said, "Ha ha ha, I can only shout 6 times during festivals. I didn't expect her to bring ice drinks over for this purpose. I love milk dogs, I love them. Light a cigarette, these years, none of my teachers have ever taken it." I was completely defeated by this female teacher's tricks all day long. "I am a pirate," and Wang Lufei said, "Aha, don't you think there is a set of regulations for post-2000s to clean up the workplace? I think it's not bad to clean up schools." Many viewers in the live broadcast room immediately burst into laughter. However, there is not as much joy here. Ko Chin Yen, who answered the question, suddenly widened her eyes and stood in the same spot at a loss. A few female students behind suddenly realized that they had just made excuses not to go running. So, the group led by Ko Chin Yen quickly began to pretend, covering their stomachs with a painful expression on their faces. Yu Wenjiao let out a shout, stood in front of a few people with arms clasped in both hands, and directly pierced through. "Don't pretend, even if you're lying to the physical education teacher, that single mother and fetus person, you still want to lie to me. If you don't attend classes well, you're lying." Ko Chin Yen and several sisters around him who lied and were exposed immediately lowered their heads in shame. "Teacher, we won't do this again next time." But several people were equally surprised to find that the handsome physical education teacher was single from both mother and fetus. A few girls pinched themselves fiercely, suppressing the idea of mocking the physical education teacher. So, teacher Yang Jin looked so mature and easy to deceive. Ko Chin Yen became more and more amused as she thought, and in front of teacher Yu Wenwen, her head could only lower and deeper. "No, why are you guys shaking so hard? What's wrong? Chen Yang, why are you laughing?" Yu Wenwen pretended to look serious at the female students in front of him. "No, teacher, I was wrong. I just thought of some sad things." The physical education teacher stood on the side, originally with a mentality of watching the excitement, but unexpectedly these children lied and skipped class. But, Yu Wenwen, how did you speak out about my only pain? Being single in the mother and fetus. As someone standing on the side and lying down with a gun, Ong Jin's face turned red from rubbing against it. The state of mind can be described in just one word. That's too heart-wrenching. The physical education teacher, feeling both shy and anxious for a moment, immediately stood up and walked up to Juventus, rebuking several female students and saying, "I didn't learn well at a young age and even lied to the teacher. I'm 800 meters tall, go now, don't think I'll leave if I don't meet the standards." A few girls nodded and fled the scene when they saw that they were not doing well. From the beginning until the student scam was exposed, the physical education teacher jumped out. The audience in the live broadcast room saw the entire process clearly. As the girls ran to the playground, the barrage in the live broadcast room finally broke out and they burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha, physical education teacher. My life will pass soon, right? The teacher really has something on him, how do I feel a little happy now? Ha ha ha, upstairs, isn't it awkward? Physical education teacher. I hate it, no one speaks up for me. Laugh to death, this female teacher is really amazing. Ha, I feel sorry for the physical education teacher for a second. There are no ghosts in the world. Hey, little girls have thin skin. Will they be sad if they do this? At this moment, regardless of Yang Jin's feelings, the netizens in the live broadcast room were watching with great joy. Everyone seemed to have found a source of happiness. Attending physical education class is just to watch the students exercise. Unexpectedly, the appearance of Yuan brought them a dazzling joy. In this way, as the barrage atmosphere in the live broadcast room improved, various rewards and gifts continued to flow. User, Nyo Kolu Lon, gave a gift. 10 fairy wands. The user, No Object to Save Traffic, gave a gift of 99 super dog food. The user, with a touch of green on their head, gave a gift, a super rocket. For a moment, the entire live broadcast room was filled with gift scrolling. Journalists and program directors who have been silently observing the back-end data of the live broadcast room are closely monitoring the popularity of the live broadcast room. After a small push, the number of people in Yuan's campus live broadcast room is constantly increasing. School playground. The physical education class of Class 11 is halfway through. The scene in the live broadcast room shows Yuan, a high school Chinese teacher, leisurely in taking his students to physical education classes on the playground. After several people's tricks were exposed, the physical education teacher is not far ahead, leading the class to do sports. Juventus looked relaxed, sitting and standing under the shade of a tree, enjoying the scenery while blowing the breeze. It's rare to have such a chance to rest. Yuan looked up at the sky and sighed, forming a sharp contrast with the busy teacher in the teaching building who was dimly lit. The traditional habits of the older generation of teachers, such as procrastination and self-study during class, cannot be found in Yuan. Do you want to schedule your class? Should students not have their own activity time every week? End of this chapter.